Children of the Popcorn. This is an audio-only recording from the Baron here for the Evil Popcorn podcast, recording about the Ghostbusters Frozen Empire film that I went to go and see. Now, most of those people that know me will know that I'm a big fan of the Ghostbusters and have been for a very long time. With this particular film, it's the fifth cinema film in the Ghostbusters multiverse, fourth in the Prime Dimension, one of them being the Answer the Call film from 2016. I know a lot of people don't like to think of it as a Ghostbusters film, but you know, it had ghosts, it had busting. It was a Ghostbusters film, whether you liked it or hated it. It's my opinion. I still count it as an alternate universe. But in this particular one, being the fourth in the Prime Dimension, the synopsis of it is the Spengler family that we were introduced to in Ghostbusters Afterlife returns to the iconic New York City firehouse, where the original Ghostbusters have taken ghostbusting up to the next level. We see some new people and a research division. Ray Stantz from Ray's Occult Books discovers an ancient artifact brought to him to be sold, and it unleashes an evil force. So the Ghostbusters, new and old, must unite to protect their home and save the world from a second ice age. So we've all seen the trailers, hopefully. If you have gone and seen it, great. Would like to hear from you guys on our various socials about what you thought. That would be lovely. So did a little bit of a history with myself with the Ghostbusters films. The very first movie was released in 1984. I went to go and see it at the drive-in at Harvey Bay. There's a little bit of a competition with that one at the time, where if you turned up and you're one of the first 4 cars, you would get in for free. And they said that the Ghostbusters were actually going to be at the drive-in themselves. As a child, I thought it was amazing. Well, as a teenager, I suppose, I thought it was amazing. The Ghostbusters were there in the bright light of seeing into the past. I can probably tell you that it was guys that were related somehow to the people that worked at the drive-in in a station wagon with a crudely drawn on logo, wearing city council overalls, and they had those vacuum cleaner backpacks that you see on cleaners, and they're wearing those as proton packs. But I thought it was amazing that the Ghostbusters were actually at the drive-in, and I forced my parents to take me back again the next weekend to see it, and I was wearing my own set of borrowed overalls and a backpack vacuum cleaner from our hotel that we ran there in Harvey Bay, the Torquay Hotel. So I saw that a second time that next weekend. I bought the soundtrack on cassette. It was one of the first albums I owned, and I played it to myself just constantly for probably about 2 years. And I was known to, instead of studying at high school, to sit and just draw and redraw and trace the Ghostbusters No Ghost Moogly logo. If you didn't know that, the ghost in the logo is known as Moogly. So my history with Ghostbusters fandom, obviously I'm a big fan of Ghostbusters. I've been a member of a couple of ghostbusting communities. I was in the Steampunk Ghostbusters. We did Ghostbusters, but what if they were in the late 19th century, and we had brass and wood packs and that sort of thing. So that was kind of cool. I am a current member, an active member of the Queensland Ghostbusters. So we do Ghostbusters stuff. We also do charity visits. Most recently, we did a visit to the Brisbane Children's Hospital, and we raise money for charity with photo shoots. We do kids parties and that sort of thing for free. Just ask for a donation. Same thing with the Steampunk Ghostbusters. We did 3 steampunk charity balls over the course of 3 years. We raised just over $35,000 across the 3 for cancer research in Australia. I'm on a bunch of Facebook groups and Reddit groups for Ghostbusters across the internet. It does have its share of good people and bad people. We see a lot of toxic fandom these days, with people being able to hide behind keyboards and that sort of thing, espousing opinions. I have a strong multiverse theory for Ghostbusters. I like it all, even going back to the TV show from the 1970s that Columbia Pictures had to pay off to get the title Ghostbusters. There was the there's comics, there's computer games. Answer the Call, which was the 2016 film, rests in an alternate universe. Ray Stantz appears in Ray Stantz appears in Casper, the movie Casper, as his character, just with a mustache. So look, there's a lot to do with Ghostbusters in the sort of multiverse sort of thing. I think it's all just part of one big story, and I love it. And you present something Ghostbusters to me, I'll watch it. Yes, even the porn parodies. But let's get into the film. Look, as a general thing, I quite enjoyed it. I was entertained. For me, the Ghostbusters Frozen Empire did what it said on the tin. It was a Ghostbusters film. There were ghosts, there was busting, there were proton packs, there was comedy, there was heart, there was a few scary creatures in it. It's a very plain story. It's not going to win any awards for screenwriting, but I was super entertained. I loved going to see it at the premiere. We had 20 plus Ghostbusters at the premiere on Wednesday night here in Queensland, which is great to see. I'll post up some photos on the socials. Now, what didn't I like about it? There's a couple of actors in it that didn't put in what I would consider sterling performances, unless you think of them as themselves. So Patton Oswalt is in it. He's only in it sort of for a very short period of time, playing a researcher from the New York Library. He was okay, but he was really just playing Patton Oswalt, so I got a little bit taken out by that. But the world building that they did with his character was really nice, showing us a secret library inside the library that they visited in the first film, which is a nice callback. The third act seemed to be super short. Like, they got to the third act quite late, and then it seemed to be sort of super short. Was there any studio fuckery? I don't know. It could have been the case that they shortened the film. It was already fairly long. It was nearly, I think it was over 2 hours at this point. And the other thing I didn't like about it, there wasn't any real threat to the characters. The trailer does tease a threat to a character, but it kind of goes nowhere in the film. And you know, once that reveal goes, like, it's like, oh well, there's no real threats here. To that end, though, what it felt like then, that the story was more like the stories from the Extreme Ghostbusters cartoon, Real Ghostbusters, Extreme Ghostbusters cartoons. So like, they were always due to be finished and get that story wrapped up in their lovely little 22-minute time frame, which, you know, I'm not against. It was a little bit formulaic, but I was there for the formula. I was there for a Ghostbusters film. What they presented me was a Ghostbusters film. What was good about it? Some really nice additions to the world with the Zeddemore Industries entity, who have been doing research, and they go through that whole story where they've been catching ghosts and studying ghosts and changing the tech. And we got a really nice evolution of the tech on screen. Loved that a heap. That was really good with the compact proton we see at one point, and the various other stuff that they've been doing with that engineering division is really nice. The bigger containment unit and all that sort of stuff is amazing. And yeah, just going to that second location that felt really Ghostbustery was great. The other thing I liked about this is it's a really good passing of the torch movie. So I know we all love the original Ghostbusters, but obviously for a new time, we're going to want new Ghostbusters, and we've got the younger actors. No doubt, if there are future films, we will still see the older Ghostbusters, but it will be more and more about the new team, which is, of course, Phoebe, Trevor, Callie, and Mr. Gruberson, the high school teacher played by the ever young Paul Rudd. Once again, it did feel like an extended episode of the Real Ghostbusters cartoon. The villain itself, Garaka, which is the spirit that can control the feeling of death by freezing it. I like the design on the orb and the room that it came out of. Kumail Nanjiani plays Kumail Nanjiani. There's a bit of a twist with his character that was kind of expected. Like I said, felt like an episode of the Real Ghostbusters cartoon. Looking at it from a fan perspective, I was happy. There's a lot of people online that don't like it. There's a lot of people online worried about the ratings, and they're really only looking at the critic rating on, like, Rotten Tomatoes. The fan rating is already quite high, matching kind of the other films where the critic rating is quite low and the fan rating is quite high. Honestly, people, if you do have the wherewithal to see this and you're a Ghostbusters fan, listen to your own heart. Go and see it yourself. Don't listen to the critics. Don't even listen to me. Well, no, listen to me. Go and see it. Make up your own mind is what I'm going to say. I'm not going to give you any waxed lyrical moments here that are going to sway you if your heart's not in it. If your heart's not in it, obviously don't go and see it. But if you liked the original film, there's enough of that in it that you'll be happy. If you like the ongoing stuff and the new stuff, there's enough of that in it that'll keep you happy. One of the big nods that I liked to what I would refer to as multiverse stuff, Walter Peck, the EPA agent from the 1984 Ghostbusters, is back in the film. He's playing the New York mayor, and his outfit in the film is taken directly from the IDW comics. The IDW comics have done a really nice multiverse crossover called Crossing Over, and we see the RGB Ghostbusters, we see the Extreme Ghostbusters, we even see the 2016 Answer the Call Ghostbusters. And the thing that I like about that is the storyline that they pump through with the comics on that really does expand that world. It does make up a bit for the let's call it Paul Feig's Impromania for our American audience, where there was a bit of what you would refer to as SNL humor in it. The comics do a really good job of taking that and making it part of the world, but making the world feel more realistic rather than like an SNL skit, which is, I think, people's biggest complaint with that film is it just felt like a 1.5 to 2 hour SNL skit. I still enjoyed the film as an alternate universe. So yeah, I've got no problem with it. With Frozen Empire, biggest thing is if you're on the fence, go and see it, but go and see it with joy in your heart and that childlike teenager in your eyes. Don't go along to critique it. Don't go along thinking that it's going to be the greatest thing ever. It's not. It's just a Ghostbusters film. But go along and enjoy it. Don't go along it and pick it to pieces. I've seen it twice now. I really quite enjoyed it. Let's get down to scores. So look, honestly, I'm going to give this a nostalgia 4. So that's a normal 3. The story is fairly plain. There's only one real surprising twist, which didn't have any real slow build up. They kind of got escalated quite quickly. There was another twist with one of the other characters that was so expected it almost became like background and didn't seem out of place, but seemed like it was almost an afterthought. Someone in the writing room went, we need to solve this problem. I will have this character do it. So yeah, but look, Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, worth your while. Go and see it. See it with the eyes of a child. Go for enjoyment. Don't go to pick it apart. So that's, look, any shout outs? Shout outs to the Queensland Ghostbusters. Shout outs to the Steampunk Ghostbusters. Shout outs to Evil Corp. Shout outs to Improv Queensland. Act React. And yeah, look, follow us. Post stuff. Leave us comments. If you've got any problems with what we're doing, if you've got any questions, if you've got any correctile dysfunctions, we're more than happy to hear from you. But look, I will let you get back to your day. This has just been a little short snippet, obviously with just me on the mic. So this is the Baron saying, go to bed, children.
Whoa,